Shawn, welcome to the Music Hacks Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Good, Sean. How are you?
Good,
All
Yeah,
right.
how you doing, man?
good. It's a wonderful day to be a musician. Every day is a
Yeah.
wonderful.
Awesome. All right. Shawn, this interview is a little bit different from what we do on the network. We have a few fellow musicians who are going to join us at this time in your interview. So we are all going to ask you questions concerning your musical journey. All right.
All righty.
All right. But before we actually go into things, I am going to ask you, Shawn, to just give us a brief description of who Shawn McNeil is.
Well, let me just first off by saying thank you for the opportunity to interview. It's always good to be amongst great musicians, and I've heard a lot about all of you, even though I don't know you on a personal basis. But hopefully, we can connect from here on out. But I am Shawn McNeil. I'm a current junior music education major at Bevel State University, where my primary instrument is alto saxophone. But saxophone was not my primary instrument growing up. Tomorrow you'll see me playing guitar as well, lead guitar.
Whoa.
That's that's my that's where the money resides for me. I always heard that saying, you want to get where the money resides, where the money resides. That's where the money resides for me. Also, two pedal steel guitar. That's where the money resides for me as well. So I'm 20 years of age. Like I said, I'm embarking on my senior year of college. I plan to, as soon as I get out, obtain my master's and get my doctorate in music ed. Hopefully, be able to teach at the collegiate level as well. Be a university professor in music ed. Hopefully, one day to have my own program.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Shawn, would you like to tell us how you were brought up at a young age?
Yeah. So I grew up in a small. Well, it's not small. It's actually huge if you think about it. Um, it's a small town in the spectrum of looking at maps, but it's called in Hope County, North Carolina. Small place where I grew up at. My grandfather played professional gospel music for about 30 years. I mean, he's still playing, still kicking. With my family, actually travels. My mom's side of the family travels. My dad's side of the family, they travel, and he plays with them, and I play with some family. So we're going. We're doing about 200 dates a year, roughly. But due to COVID, that slowed down. Um, so yeah, we do. I've been brought up in music. I say, ever since I was in the womb. I've been playing music since I was in the womb. I came out. I first started off singing. Then my voice changed, and then guitar was my first. I started playing guitar. Then had a relationship. One day, just weird. Just wake up and you just have a dream. And dream of playing another instrument other than your own that you just hold. And that instrument was piano. And I got up, and my grandfather, he's a piano prodigy, amazing pianist. He, my uncles. I mean, everybody in my family plays an instrument, literally. Either sings or plays on both sides. My mom's, my dad's, my grandpa's, my grandma's side, on both sides of my family. So I got it triple ways, they said. So I grew up that, and it's just weird how music is just how I how I've been blessed to have the talent to play. Like I said, growing up, learning how to play different instruments. I can remember dreaming at night, playing different licks in my sleep, and I could remember getting up, playing those same licks.
Mm.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
yeah, man, that's real, man.
Yeah. So I mean, these dreams, these dreams that I were having. I mean, it wouldn't be no easy licks either. These licks would be crazy, and I mean, it looked like it would just seem like I would just conquer. I mean, not overcome because I'm still learning I'm still learning the instruments, and I'm still, weaving my way through it. I don't want to ever get to a point where I'm that musician to say I'm stagnant. I don't want to get better. You always want to leave yourself open for room for improvement. But I can just remember those times vaguely. I can just be in my head asleep and just wake up and just run to any instrument that I was dreaming about and just play what I was dreaming about. Crazy.
No, cool.
Wow.
All right. Thank you, Sean. We have two other persons who are going to be sitting on the panel with us at this time. We have Mr. Jermaine Biggie Francis, as we all know him
Mhm.
on this platform well. And we also have Lyle Swaby, right? Lyle Swaby is always here as well. All right, so they are going to join in on the discussion. And guys, you are free to ask Sean all the questions that you would like to ask him. All right.
Okay. Yeah, so let me ask, what age did you start to play professionally, like professional music? What age you started to tour and stuff like that?
I mean, I was on the road. I mean, I can remember times before I started playing. I mean, and on our bus we have bunks, and and before we had bus, I remember sometimes going and traveling. We had a van at the time, and we would travel in the van, and I'd be in my PJ. Sometimes I don't even know how I would get from the van to get in my house in between. So I've been traveling pretty like all my life, but playing wise,
Hmm.
with my family, um, I would have to say around I think 7, 8, when I really started taking like good interest. Like I always played around at home, but before that time I was singing. So I was still traveling and singing. I was just
Okay.
playing.
Mm.
All right. That's wonderful, Sean. Sitting here, listening to your musical journey. I mean, it's very amazing, man. So, my question to you, well, saxophone for me, I love, I really love to hear saxophone. Trust me, it when you listen to music and you hear a saxophone, a
Yeah,
saxophone play, like it brings out so much to the music. It makes it so much soulful. You know, you can actually feel it. You know, so
Right.
my question to you: what what influenced you to go for saxophone as your primary instrument?
I guess, we've all as musicians have had mentors. And
hmm,
I guess if you don't have a mentor at this stage in your life as a musician, there's something wrong. Can I get an amen?
amen.
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 Yeah.
These these mentors, and you have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody that you look up to.
That's
And
right.
and if it wasn't for mentors that play these instruments, that you just look up after them, you take licks from, and you steal licks from, and those mentors that just push you and drive you to become who you want to be. Because my sound
Um,
has not always sounded like this, Professor, and he's still living. Dr. Ron Carter, great jazz instrumentalist. He is the one, is just basically, gave me this sax, and this is his sax. And I'm paying for it a month, but just to know that he he saw something in me, and he took me under his wing to engage me in, working with me on my sound. But you know you take things in life for granted, and you wonder why, some musicians become stagnant. You don't want to hear them no more, and you wonder why they're stealing licks from other bands, and you wonder why not becoming unique. It's because they don't want to put in the work, right? This book here, and as musicians, you got to read. You have to read. You got to. There's so many resources out there. Even though there's books like this, there's so much on the internet. But if it wasn't for him showing me this book, Patterns for Improv, and this is a whole nother Zoom meeting panel
That's
section
right.
talking about improv.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
True. That's true.
there's
That's
a lot of
true.
instrumentalists that don't know how to improv. There's a
Right.
lot of instrumentalists that don't know their scales, they don't know the key centers, they don't know the key signatures. They can't play in all their keys. And it becomes a problem for me. And don't know their modes. Because when you're changing, and we're changing, like you'll see tomorrow when we play, when we changing from different modes and we're going and we're changing different key centers, you should be able, when you're called upon to improv and solo, you should be able to go in at any time. But
Mhm.
that's enough of rambling on that.
Right, right.
But what made me want to go for this primary instrument is not because, of course, because people pushed me. Um, it's because I had a lot of people say I wouldn't make it because they said this instrument's too intimidating. But I grabbed myself up and I said, I'm going to prove them wrong.
All right. Awesome.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice, nice.
Awesome, man.
All right, Sean. I am going to ask you to play something now on your sax. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome,
Yes.
Sean. All right, Sean, how would you best describe your sound or your tone on the sax?
Very bebop-ishy. Um, because that's what I listen to, a lot of bebop jazz. Um, because you all know, I mean, and I'm glad, we're having this discussion. And, as we move into the month of Black History Month, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, these guys were creating in the 50s. Nobody was creating this sound that you're hearing. Oliver Nelson, uh, all of these guys right here was creating a sound that nobody else was creating at that time. And you wonder why these tunes are still getting played today. So I say bebop is she definitely full. I like to make sure when I'm playing with a band, whether it be on guitar, whether it be on sax, that I make sure I stay in my lane.
Hmm.
Okay.
You don't overplay
Yeah.
because and we and the other band members were talking last night, or some of the band members were talking last night. When I found out I was gonna have to play guitar too, um, that when you have a full band, when you have a keys, you have an organ, you have an aux, you have a horn line, and you have a guitar player, bass player, and drum player. Sometimes, in most cases, you can automatically cancel out the horn line. Why? Because the aux, that sound has already been taken over, and it clashes. In
Okay.
my opinion, I don't know about y'all, but that's how I would. That's how I would view, and that's how I would see it. And then you won't get in the purity of the sound of the horn line. But yeah, so my tone on the sax definitely, still improving because my sound, I can definitely say with these past couple of years that I've studied here at the School of Music here, um, my tone has definitely improved much.
Okay.
Hmm.
My final question before I allow the rest of the guys to ask. So you mentioned bebop. Um, what are some of the other things that you have been working on over the years to sort of shape this tone that we just spoke of?
Well, Duke Ellington said it best. You can play a certain excerpt, certain excerpt of rhythms, and for example, Duke Ellington said it best. You have to make the rhythms dance, and that's what bebop is all about. Adding those accents, adding those marcatos. So that was the passage without any accent or without any the D attack, which is the language that most jazz instrumentalists talk. You hear that change
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
when I just add it. That's the same. Just adding accents, um, just the language. I can also say what helped me with that. Listen to recordings, transcribing those jazz recordings, transcribing solos. That's truly what has gotten my sound way much better. When you listen to recordings and try to imitate that sound, and when you finally learn how to grasp that sound, it just makes the whole world of difference. I'm pretty sure you guys listened to recordings before and try to get licks, and now
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Yes.
growing up, literally growing up, and having to go to concerts to listen, or having to listen to cassette tapes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Now everything's online.
yep.
You playback speed, you can playback speed, or somebody has already got the transcription written out. So all you got to do is read the music.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
Greg, I'm going to take Greg and then Joe Daniel.
I heard that you have perfect pitch, Mr. Sean. What I want to ask you is that this perfect pitch, is it just something like a goal to accomplish as a musician, or is it, or put it this way, what sort of help is it to your playing, or is it just something to accomplish as a musician?
I always look at it like this: perfect pitch is a blessing and a curse, and you can take it how you want it from there. And as a musician, sometimes whether I'm on the podium conducting the band, or whether I'm in front of an ensemble, or whether I'm arranging music, and if the arranging software it's tuned to 440 because they have made it. Um, they have instruments automatically record to tune to 440 on there. So when I'm arranging, when I pass out an arrangement, um, or when I tried to pass out an arrangement before, and trying to teach something from the podium or to teach something from in front of an ensemble, and as a musician, you know, you ever seen those musicians that just make these nasty faces when something doesn't sound right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us has experienced that in some point in time, and that's when the curse can come, because it's just like, ugh, why does it sound so flat? They know they can bring that note up, but then you have to realize other people aren't like you.
Yes, I think I have an idea of what you're saying.
Yeah,
That
and also too, it's a gift. You got to
it's a
really
gift, right?
right, and
Okay.
I think God blesses people with that gift who He wants to have.
Because I remember I used to play with this singer in Negril, and he would always start the song on the exact key. Didn't need an intro or anything. Didn't need an intro or anything to just come in on the right key. And he told me something that when the song is like when persons transpose the song, like if the song is in A and they sing it in G, he says the song sound flat. And somehow it kind of annoys his ear. And there was this other Donovan Cole, you remember him, Biggie,
Yeah,
Pastor
yeah,
Cole.
yeah.
Pastor Cole said there was this young man, I think his name was Chris Sterling, that he had from very young age had that gift, a perfect pitch, and they used to use this piano, this organ that is always like a semitone, not a full semitone, but a what you call a demi semi in between there, a little out. So what that means that the instruments that are tunable, they will tune down or tune up to it. And so when he comes and hear it, his face is like this.
Mm.
They don't hear that they have key. And to all of them, it's all right, you know. So I do understand when you're saying it's a blessing
And
and a
I
curse.
and I've been a victim of that in many ways, Mr. Gregory. I've definitely been in situations where I've walked into a church service and somebody's bass is out of tune or guitar is out of tune, and I'm just like, oh, well, they need to tune up or they need to tune down. Or I've walked into a recital hall or a practice room, and sometimes the pianos are not in tune. I'm just like, oh, I need to bring my tuner in here. If I could just knock this over just 1 inch, just 1 inch over, maybe this will make a difference. But sometimes also too, I'm not one of those perfect people. Like for example, Delroy, he can tell he, me and him, we were on the phone the other night and we were talking, just having basic conversation, deep in music, and he was telling me, when he, with his with him dealing with perfect pitch, he can't stand for something to be at him. It irritates him. But I've learned to block it out.
Mm.
I've learned to block it out, and you can block it out.
All right, one more part of the question. Oh, I like if you're not born with that gift, um, how easy is it to attain, or what oh, I mean the whole process of attaining learning perfect pitch.
I definitely say it requires time, spending time with your instrument, whatever you play. And may I ask, what instrument do you play?
Bass player. Bass
Bass.
player. I play keyboard too also, but
Okay.
and
Um,
guitar. So
yeah. So you basically play, some of the instruments that I would say, for somebody that's wanting to learn how to get at least relative pitch to, get almost on it. But here's my thing. Well, when I noticed I had perfect pitch, I noticed I could sit in the crowd, and I was like, of course, I knew all my keys, knew all my scales, and I was sitting in the crowd in the middle of a concert we were at, and I began to tell my dad, I said, "Hey, Dad, I know what key they're in." He was like, "No, you don't. You're lying." Um, I said, "Yes, I do. I know what key they're in." And he said, well, "What key they're in?" I said, "They're in D major." Um, and he pulled out his keyboard, on his phone. He had GarageBand on his phone. So happened he just downloaded it, and he played, and he pulled it up to his ear, and we were standing at the back of the church, and he played it, and he was like, the next song came on, and as soon as it started, I named the pitch. And he said, "What key are they in?" And then of course, I said, "Name the pitch." And I think that song, if I'm not mistaken, they were in F. I said, "They're in F." He did it again, and he said, "You got to be." My thing is, like I said, spending time with your instrument, knowing if you could find, if you're a person that wants to have perfect pitch, relative pitch at least, finding a note that can stabilize or sing in your head like C, or note that you can automatically go to. And when you can sing that note you automatically go to, or like I do C as a neutral note, C, because that is neutral. And you can move up and down from there because that's zero.
So let me ask, if you have a choice to choose between the two, perfect pitch or good relative pitch, which one would you choose? Because I have a friend, he have perfect pitch, and he told me, even though he have perfect pitch, but he rather relative pitch. And I asked him why. He said, because perfect pitch, he annoys people and people annoys him.
I certainly agree that
Yeah.
um, people do annoy me, and they walk around with keyboards and well, they're with some kind of instrument on their phone. It's like, what is this key? Or well, a ringtone comes on, and what is this key in, or what key were they just in, or what key did I just talk in,
Right.
or look, what key was that? And I'm like, really, it's not that serious. But my best friend, I see Jerome throwing out them emojis. But me and my best friend, who is actually on campus now, she's my best friend. She's a percussion major. She has perfect pitch as well. So I'm not by myself on campus. So we walk around campus, we hear the birds chirping, we'll automatically turn to each other and say, they're singing in E flat, they're singing in C. We'll drop something, like we'll drop a, or we'll go and put some ice in the cup. He's like, oh, the ice just made a G chord. I mean, it's moments like that I live for, when you can have somebody that you can relate to.
Right.
But when you can't relate to anybody and you get frustrated when nobody understands what you're talking about, then that's when I want to just have relative pitch.
Mm. Okay, got you.
Interesting. All right. Joe Daniel.
Yes, sir. Good night. Good night, brother Sean.
Uh,
Blessing, sir. A youngster as well. Really fascinated about the music as well. In terms of keeping motivated and practicing, because there's a lot of music content out there, So just really asking, for like what would you do, in terms of practicing and keeping discipline in terms of your instrument and music
um,
in general.
Let me say, it's a pleasure to meet you, and you remind me so much of myself when you just ask that question. And I'm always asking, I'm always asking mentors, I'm always asking educators, what can I do? What best motivates me, or what can I just do? First of all, getting the first thing is getting sleep. You have to get rest. And the hardest thing for me this past couple months and this past year was to start saying no to things, because I know, I mean, I love to play and I love to do that. And it was just getting overwhelming, um, just playing on a lot of stuff. And I wasn't having time for myself to work on my craft. Um, but definitely time management and having a practice schedule as well. May I ask you, do you have a practice schedule?
Yes, sir. I have a practice
That
schedule.
sound that didn't sound too didn't sound
I
promising.
don't have, because I'm doing school as well and so forth. So I have
Okay.
to be balancing the time.
Yes, balancing the time. You have to balance the time. Of course, you want to go out and hang out with your friends. You want to go party. That's you do you. You want to have time to hang out with family. I understand that. You have to make time, but if you really want to get serious on your horn, you want to get serious on your instrument, you have to practice. You have to schedule a practice time. Let me show you what my agenda looks like. Do you have a planner?
No, no, I don't have a planner.
Let me set my horn onto the side. Um, um, I also have, I'm an Apple fanatic and product user, so all my product is Apple. So all my calendars are hooked up within the same, the calendar that I have on my Mac is the same calendar I have on my iPad, and the same calendar I have on my iPad is connected to my phone. So you just have to schedule out. And I'll show you, for example, how busy, one of my, this was like, October, like in the middle of the pandemic here. But those X's, I still found time to practice.
Mhm.
And
Yes, sir.
when scheduling a time to practice, you just don't want to go in there and schedule a time to practice and be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, I'm gonna work on that. You need to go in with a goal. You want to go in. You want to go in with a goal when you go into practice. What do I want to accomplish today? Well, I know I'm a little slacking on this. Well, work on that. Everybody is different, so that's my thing to you. Definitely keep motivated. I was at the point where I just felt like giving up and just selling all my gear, and this was here recently. I felt like I didn't want to play anymore. I felt like nothing wasn't just coming up, and it can be hard and it can be a struggle, but you just have to fight through. And I just something in the back of my mind that keeps on playing is just I'm proving a point. I'm breaking statistics. I'm breaking records. And when you think of success, you really think most people think of the goal, the ultimate goal. And this is Delroy saying, and I wish he was here and we had this conversation, but he said something really deep. But when you think of, he said, when you think of success, and when he thinks of success, he thinks of the pain, all the pain that you're gonna went through. You got to prove people wrong, and that's what I always think of that motivates me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
Yes. So, Sean, I hear you touched something earlier about playing in band and learn to I know how to stay in your lane. I want you elaborate a little more on that because I really like that. So if you could say some more about that, how to play in a band, not to overplay, stay in your lane and stuff like that. Especially playing a saxophone or a guitar, that is a basically probably a solo instrument, you know, how to stay in a lane playing instrument like those, like guitar, saxophone. So when you touch that, I
Yeah,
like that. So,
I definitely love that topic, and that could be a whole nother Zoom, a whole nother Zoom
yes, sir.
talk. And I think every musician needs to talk. So when I think of a band, and thank God, and I've learned this lesson a long time ago. Well, when I first started, off, a shout out to my grandpa, my papa, who was still playing. The
Hmm.
um um he he learned me that a long time ago. Knowing your place. Every instrument has a place in the band. Usually, like when I'm playing with the band, whether it be Southern gospel, whether it be black gospel, whether it be country, whether it be funk soul R&B, um, I always try to listen. Like if I'm listening, if they want to do it just like the recording, I always listen for licks and riffs that are not in the forefront but are in the background that you barely can hear,
Hmm.
that make up so much color. And you're talking about make so much fullness, it just makes it more fuller. So my question to you is, Jermaine, have you ever experienced playing with some musicians that have not been have that have just overplayed?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. We all have, and it, and
Yeah.
it can be and it can be hard because it can be hard as music. I know here in the state and North Carolina, it can it's hard to get another gig after that. After after you played over somebody if you're busy because nobody wants you no more. Like
Right.
and usually you see the same people getting the same gigs and you wonder why because they don't do much. Because why? Everybody stays in their lane. What's the drummer? Somebody answer me. What's the drummer's main job?
To keep the groove.
keep the groove, man.
Bass.
Bass. Well, I see the bass of the
Bass,
as the foundation.
Guitar.
Guitar.
Color.
Color. Yeah.
Keys.
more colors and stuff.
Yeah. Also auxiliary. That's more
Mhm.
layers. So all of these, besides the foundation, all these other instruments are layers.
Mhm.
And typically, if you know anything about science or the layers of the atmosphere, each layer is only but so big. I'm getting to something. And I feel as if, the keys have a certain layer they should play up. If you're playing with a band, you don't need to be past, you don't need to be over here on the bass end of the piano playing on
Right.
C1. You don't. You need to be middle ways to the end. Auxiliary. You need to work out something with the guitar player. Horn
Mhm.
line. You need to work out something with the auxiliary and the guitar player because you don't want to be overplaying with each other. Bass player,
Mhm.
I don't want to see you running nothing. I need pocket.
Yeah, sir.
I need foundation. So and you'll see tomorrow, and we haven't even like fully practiced. I mean, we've gotten the songs, and these musicians are just dope that you're just gonna hear tomorrow. Each and every individual that you'll hear tomorrow, you'll hear these colors, you'll hear these layers, and you'll understand why there's some licks that you'll see me, you'll probably see, and you'll see some people just stay in their lane. You might not hear them for a while, and then all of a sudden you might hear them just chord here and there. For example, like a guitar player. I know for me, when I play guitar, when it's time for me to lead, I'm a lead. But when it's time for me to get back out, I'm chording to add color.
So one more question to you though, because I know a lot of musicians like that play in the pocket don't overplay, but they're not overplaying. But when you listen, you can hear them coming through the mix without overplaying. Is anything they play just cut through, and they're not overplaying
Right.
with what they're
But
doing.
maybe it's the lick choice,
Right.
Maybe it's the timing of the lick. Because and maybe, that's the whole thing about playing with the full band, because and that's when we go back to talking about key centers and modes. Because and basic improv.
So you think these things it have to do with like years of experience, like after years of experience, you learn how to, stay in the pocket and still stand out as a player.
Right. You can stay in the pocket, and you could, and I have literally did the simplest lick, and everybody just go crazy because it was the right time for that.
Right.
Because you don't want the ox going off and you trying to go off two at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And you don't want the horn line just da da do yada do da da do 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 da 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 do 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 da da do do do, and you don't want the drummer be chopping over that because it's gonna sound muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unless that section is you have
Right.
like a
Unless
syncopation
unless
in the
unless right. Unless I'm the band leader or MD and I say go stupid.
Yeah.
But that's when I say, Jermaine, lick choice,
Mm-hmm.
um, finding your section. My grandpa always told me I would rather hear you do 3 good licks in a song. This is on guitar. 2 to 3 good licks on a song than to hear you play over one whole verse. Playing. And you wonder why some musicians are only good to play live. Some musicians are only meant to play in church. Every musician aren't studio musicians.
Right. That's true. That's so true.
I can sit and talk about this topic all day.
Yeah.
And it would be easier to do this topic with the band because then you could have the band play and you could say, "Give me more."
Yeah,
anymore, and you could actually hear. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
but
all
the
right.
reason why but the reason why I go back to that, because I'm a guy who believe in the pocket, so I just want to get some more understanding,
Yes.
because I'm a guy who believe in that. For me, is the soul for me. And if you play one lick for the night, you should play one lick for the night, and I leave that venue thinking about you because of that
Yes.
one lick.
Yes.
You know?
I
Yeah.
knew there was something good about you, all of you, but I knew there was something good about you, Jermaine, when you started talking. When you wanted to go back to the subject about playing in your lane. Like
Yeah.
you said, I should go to a concert and I hear you just do this one lick and it just come out just the easiest, simplest lick. It
Yep.
could be the simplest lick, but do. That could just be that lick for the night that I heard you do on one song with the closing song. And you did it in the right timing, in the right key center that you're going to another section of the song. The key center might switch, and the
Hmm.
group might switch because basic improv, you're setting up for the next section.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. All right, Lyle, I'm going to take Lyle now, and then we go into some of the persons that you have worked with. I'm Sean. So let's take Lyle's
Okay.
question.
Yeah. So Sean. All right. So earlier on in the interview, the panel discussion, you mentioned about bebop, right? No, you also said that you are a jazz lover and you're more into bebop jazz. Uh, yeah. So my question is, how do you go about practicing like bebop skills, and also how do you improvise? Because I know I'm not a saxophonist, I'm a bass player, but we have to learn bebop on bass as well. We have to learn scales because sometimes in jazz we have to solo and all. So that's the answer to my question. All right.
I'm just
No,
saying this is
you're
one
just
of the
giving us
answers.
what?
Yeah.
This is
That's one of the answer.
this is one of the answers. Practicing along with recordings, and also these knowing the language of
All right.
jazz.
Sean, let's now look at some of the persons that you have worked with over the years, both internationally and locally.
Well, let me say I did have the opportunity to perform at Carnegie Hall in New York. If you don't know what Carnegie Hall is, it's a big performance venue in New York City. Everybody has performed there, literally. I was selected out of 55 students at my school to perform. I was on sax. So it was 55 of us from our school that went, if not mistaken, or less. And we performed. We were the only school from North Carolina to go and be represented at Carnegie Hall. I recently just performed the North Carolina's Governor's Mansion uh, 2 years ago.
What are you currently working on now, musically?
I'm currently working on my senior recital. Uh,
Okay.
I'll do my senior recital in the fall. Um, um, that takes place in this fall, and that's required for me to graduate. Um,
Mm,
I do track for some people. So if you need any tracks done or if you need anything, I do have software here and I record in my room. So you just send
okay.
me a text or an email, and I'll be surely glad to
All
record
right.
a track for you or over for you. Um, I did need to mention that I did have the great opportunity to play and serve as the lead guitarist for a gospel comedy show, Pastor and Beulah Baptist. I've been with them for since May, June. Still going, still playing with them. Shout out to them. We do gospel comedy, so it's fun, laughter, and fun gospel comedy. You should definitely check it out. It's definitely fun and full band. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm currently doing now, musically. Um, my family's getting back in the studio, so I'll be hopefully, be working on that with them, doing some stuff soon. Tracking, recording.
In terms of contact, how can a person contact you? How can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Shawn McNeil, SHAWNMCNEILL. Instagram, um, I am Shawn McNeil. So yeah, that's the easiest ways you can follow me.
All right, Sean, is there anything else that you would like to add that we have not spoken about?
No, just to any musician out there, don't give up. Keep pressing forward. You know, God has given you a gift. If He's giving you a gift, you need to maximize your gift. You need to use it. Don't ever think you're not too good enough. There's always room for improvement. Um, Let me just say thank you, Mr. Chris, all the guys on here for making me feel like family. I hope you guys are going to be watching tomorrow. Uh, you're going to be wanting to watch.
Yeah, we'll
It's
definitely be
going to,
there.
yeah, this is going to be a treat.
All right. All right. Sean, I would like to thank you on the behalf of the Music Hacks Network for taking this time out to come and share with us on the platform. And
Anytime.
all right. And also to the guys who were a part of the team. Thanks all. Also, Jermaine, Big Francis, Lyle, Swaby, Joe Daniel, Wilson, Gregory Anderson,